The Villanelle, a mini lecture by Tim Kelly. In this video, I'll be talking a little bit about the Villanelle. Before I do, I'd like you to listen to Dylan Thomas's wonderful poem, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, widely regarded as an intimate homage to his dying father, but perhaps more pertinently, a rebellious attack against death, a stubborn and furious rejection of human destiny, if you like, here read by the actor Anthony Hopkins.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way, do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Notice how the Villanelle is structured around two refrains. The first and third line of the first stanza are repeated in a set pattern throughout the poem. Villanelles were originally songs sung by French farm workers in the medieval era, and so you'd expect repetition of refrains to be a feature, though the fixed form I'll be talking about today didn't develop until later, sometime during the 16th century. So the first line of the poem, Do not go gentle into that good night, is repeated, so it appears again as the third line in the second stanza, and also in the fourth and sixth stanzas. The third line of the poem, or the second refrain, Rage, rage against the dying of the light, is also repeated, so it appears as the final line of the third, fifth and sixth stanzas. Note how the sixth and final stanza has an extra line, bringing both refrains together. The rhyme scheme is ABA, 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 ABAA. Basically, the odd lines in all the stanzas rhyme, along with the last line of the last stanza. So we have night, light, right, night, bright, light, flight, night, sight, light, height, night, and light. And apart from in the last stanza, all the even lines rhyme. So we have day, they, bay, way, gate, and pray. I'll say something about the metre in a moment, but before I do, let's listen to another famous Villanelle, Mad Girl's Love Song by Sylvia Plath.
Mad Girl's Love Song by Sylvia Plath. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my lids and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red. An arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. I think I made you up inside my head. God topples from the sky, hell's fires fade. Exit seraphim and Satan's men. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name. I think I made you up inside my head. I should have loved a thunderbird instead. At least when spring comes they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head.
The first thing I should say is that originally, in French, the metre varied for the Villanelle, and the metre has varied in English over time, though the convention with most modern villanelles is to use iambic pentameter, or sometimes more loosely to have 10 syllables to each line, but with mixed feet, often including trochees, spondies, and so on. The Dylan Thomas poem does all this. The Plath poem has 10 syllables in all but one line of the poem, and has 5 feet to each line, and almost all are iambic. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. I lift my lids and all is born again. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. I think I made you up inside my head. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. An arbitrary blackness gallops in. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. And so on. Because I think this is a particularly powerful poem, and whilst formally finely crafted, is also a deeply personal poem about love and madness, let's listen one more time. This to a version I found on YouTube that I like.
Mad Girl's Love Song by Sylvia Plath. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my lids and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red, and arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. I think I made you up inside my head. God topples from the sky, hell's fires fade, exit seraphim and Satan's men. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name. I think I made you up inside my head. I should have loved a thunderbird instead. At least when spring comes, they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head.
Villanelles appear at first sight to be an incredibly technical form of writing, with the complex pattern of refrains, the intricate rhyme scheme, and the adoption of iambic pentameter in most modern versions. Yet, strangely enough, this tight technical form has been used to create some of the most personal and powerful poems in English. Of course, you have to master the technical craft, but I believe it's much easier than it appears at first sight. The key is to get 2 powerful refrains that will form the rhyming couplet at the end of your last stanza, and then build the poem around these. Almost half the poem falls immediately into place, and then it's a case of mostly constructing the midlines to each stanza and ensuring these rhyme. You don't have to use iambic pentameter, but if you don't, I suggest you use some other form consistently, perhaps trimeter or tetrameter. As with all metrical poems, avoid too many long words, as short monosyllabic words are easier to fit into the beat. If you do all of this, you'll find the poem almost constructs itself. But of course, as with all poems, redraft, redraft, redraft. I'll finish with a Villanelle I wrote, a personal one about a love relationship. And like all the most powerful relationships, it was doomed from the start. I mean, even before it began, I knew it was a mistake. I remember thinking, if I go out with that girl, it will be like walking into a house that's on fire. And then I thought, what the hell, and walked in anyway. It didn't end well, of course, and anyhow, this Villanelle was one product of the disaster, an ember from the burning house, if you like, and it varies the Villanelle form ever so slightly in that I change one word in the first refrain each time it occurs. It's called The Butcher. The Butcher by Tim Kelly. Now that my ladder's gone, I must lie down where all ladders start, in the foul rag and bone shop of the heart. The Circus Animal's Desertion by W.B. Yeats. Your beauty was the butcher of my heart, your hazel eyes, the glint of steel below, and I a cast-off hide now we're apart. Your fierce love cut right through me from the start, cleaved deep into my flesh from head to toe. Your loving was the butcher of my heart. Cruel butchery refined into an art, the carcass of our love you sliced up slow, and I a cast-off hide now we're apart. Suspicion, pain and rage all played their part. You chopped yourself as well as me, I know. Your madness was the butcher of our heart. You skinned and slaughtered me, cut out my heart. A slop of blood and guts now overflows, and I a cast-off hide, now we're apart. Be kind, you cried, or warned that you depart. Was I to blame for forcing you to go? My hubris was the butcher of our heart, and we just cast off hides, now we're apart.